Attack on Titan, the 10 most useless heroes, ranked. While there are many effective and strong heroes in Attack on Titan, a few of them are not quite as useful as others. The Attack on Titan universe is full of engaging heroes that protect their homes by fighting those who would attempt to destroy them. Icons like Eren Yeager and Levi Ackerman have been of particular note to the series characters and fans alike. However, there are some heroes who've contributed virtually nothing in parody and continued struggle for survival. By ranking them, we can better understand the ways they fell abysmally short of the mark. Bear in mind that characters will be measured both by their actual contributions and the screen time they had to make a difference. This article will contain manga spoilers. 10. Historia Rice vanished when parody needed her most. Historia Rice's contributions have been somewhat significant. Not only did she help to defeat Rod before he could breach the walls, but she also agreed to be his successor. Without her, the military's coup wouldn't have had the credibility it needed to assuage the people's concerns. However, Historia's pregnancy took her out of the story when parody needed her most. When the walls turned into titans and the Yeagerists rose up, the queen was nowhere to be found. 9. Dallas Zachary only did 2 relevant things before dying in an explosion. Dallas Zachary was the man responsible for all 3 lines of parody military defense. It was through his judgment that Eren was spared of execution. And he also helped to depose the corrupt monarchy when the time was right. However, the latter was only to satisfy a personal grudge and did not have the people's interest at heart. Worse yet, he failed to do anything after the coup was complete and died instantly, and the Yeagerists planted a bomb in his office. 8. Pieck was easily the most useless Titan shifter. Despite being the most level-headed Titan shifter, Pieck was also the most useless. Throughout the series, she failed to do almost anything for either Marley or Eldia. Her greatest contribution to the former was when she shot down Zeke during the invasion of Parody, which was largely irrelevant since he made contact with Eren anyway. Pieck also draped a sash of explosives around Eren's skeletal neck near the conclusion of the rumbling. However, since she was being overwhelmed by adversaries, Jean was ultimately the one who had to press the detonation trigger and bring his former friend down. 7. Dino Reeves barely did anything before dying as a martyr. Initially, Dimo Reeves was a profoundly corrupt man. He prioritized his goods and personal wealth over the lives of innocent people during the battle for Trost, only to be interrupted by Mikasa Ackerman. Since then, he has vowed to help the scouts by sharing vital information and resources. However, he was killed by Kenny Ackerman almost immediately after his change of heart. With little contributions of his own, most of Dimo's legacy lives on through the works of his son. 6. Mishi failed to meet expectations as humanity's second strongest soldier. Mishi was the second most powerful member in the Scouts' ranks. He helped to defeat Levi before introducing him to the organization. And his keen sense of smell was invaluable for finding pure Titans before they struck. Despite his station, he failed to accomplish nearly as much as Levi did and was killed almost immediately in his encounter with Zeke. Although this was an excellent way to establish the Beast Titan as a threat, it spoke poorly of Mishi's ability in combat. 5. Marlowe died as cannon fodder in Erwin's charge. Initially, Marlowe was a member of the military police. After realizing its deep and encompassing corruption, he agreed to join the Scouts and assisted Erwin during the second battle for Shiganshina. While Marlowe was one of the many brave soldiers to charge at Zeke, he ultimately served merely as another target for the villain's boulder shower. His death may have had a semblance of meaning, but he was interchangeable with many of the other nameless characters who perished alongside him. For Olu was a loudmouth who died for nothing. Olu was a member of Levi's squad and a veteran scout. He accompanied the heroes during their mission to the forest and volunteered to stay behind in order to slow Annie Leonhardt down. Despite how much he flaunted his skills and disparaged Eren by calling him a greenhorn, Olu isn't half as skilled as his bluster suggests. He died fighting the female Titan. And since Eren later turned around to confront her anyway, his sacrifice was meaningless. If Levi's squad and Eren fought Annie together, Olu might not have perished meaninglessly. 3. Mina died at the Battle for Trost. Mina was a member of the 104th Cadet Corps that graduated alongside Eren. Though not at the top of her class, she vowed to serve the citizens of Paradis by joining the Scouts anyway. Unfortunately, her career was tragically short-lived. During the Battle for Trost, she was killed almost immediately by a pure Titan after it seized the wires of her ODM gear. Though she died in battle, Mina accomplished literally nothing and only served as a grim reminder for the other heroes about the fleeting nature of life in the Scouts. 2. Hitch was mostly useless despite her early debut. Hitch was a member of the military police who served alongside Marlowe. Although known for her cheerful disposition, she was complacent with her organization's corruption and unwilling to join the Scouts like her comrade was. The only notable way Hitch impacted the story was by apprehending Annie Leonhardt immediately after the rumbling began and she escaped her crystal prison. However, considering that Annie was promptly released into the capable hands of the Allied coalition, not even that can be factored as a worthwhile deed to a world in crisis. 1. Connie had the most screen time with the least to show for it. Despite being one of the series' main heroes, Connie was entirely useless to the Scouts. More often than not, he needed to be saved by his comrades such as during the attack on the Rice bunker and often whined about his current predicament. Worse yet, Connie almost got Armin killed and attempting to sacrifice Falco to his mother. If he had succeeded, the colossal Titan wouldn't have been able to stand against Eren in the final battle, and all non-Eldian life on the planet would have been exterminated.